You're listening to the Science of CX. My name is Steve Pappas. I'm known for my relentless pursuit of all things customer. Across my career, and also in my 6 startups, I've had to learn how to make decisions in business that customers really respond to. Let's spend some time together and help your business soar, grow, and accelerate. Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Science of CX. I'm Steve Pappas. Let's dive right in. So I've been asked many times at all of my speaking engagements, and some of the questions and answers that come up in a lot of these are, who prospers from adopting a more customer experience focus for the business? So since it's come up so many times, I thought, let's tackle that. So let's think about it. An exceptional customer experience, or CX as we're going to talk about it, it wins new business. It also retains more business and increases the customer lifetime value. That has been proven over and over again by some of the biggest and best names, as well as some of the most up-and-coming businesses. So let's look at some of these leaders, right? Like Southwest Airlines and Trader Joe's and JetBlue and Amazon. What are they doing differently? What are they doing better? So we could probably name 4 main qualities if we're trying to think about what those differentiators are. That these kind of companies, they adapt to the customer needs very quickly. They know how to move left or right as needed to further the customer's experience. And that adaptation leads to innovation. So when you think about it, think about all of the more innovative things that these companies have come to market with. If you started with them early on in their tenure and watch them grow, you've seen how they've innovated. But they've innovated as a result of what the customers needed, right? And also the third thing, they aspire to be thought leaders. They really want to be thought of as not only thought leaders, but leaders by their customers as well as their peers. They want to be looked up to. And the fourth quality is they care how every customer perceives the brand. They're very customer-centric. And that brings me back to all of the startups that I have started. The one mantra that I operated with was be very customer-centric. We're going to talk about that in another episode, but let's dig further into who prospers from the CX focus. So as I talked about those 4 qualities, let's think about, do you really need to be an airline or a retailer to make customer experience your business building strategy? I don't think so. So let's look at the types of enterprises who really flourish by means of a better CX. Now, let me back up a little bit and let's put a disclaimer out there that customer experience or CX is not for everybody, right? Before we talk about the sorts of businesses that really prosper from a better customer experience, let's cross a few types of companies off our list. So there are a few business strategies that really don't want to focus on CX. And let's talk about those 3 right now. 1, you're preparing a startup for exit instead of long-term growth. Okay? CX is a great way to win and keep customers, but you might think that new businesses are trying to win and keep customers, but mainly they're proving concepts that will be more appealing to buyers of the business. So if you're proving the concept of a startup, your idea, and managing toward what venture capitalists or investors are calling a liquidity event, you probably won't want to invest too much into strong customer experience. The second type of company is you want to solve product and process challenges first. Now, what I mean by that is you may need to improve products or processes before leading customers to them. There's not much sense in offering a great customer experience if your reps spend all their energies soothing customers dissatisfied with a faulty product. The third type of company is your organization is on the far right side of the growth curve. So if you think of the bell curve, if your company is on the far right of the growth curve, then you're probably at a point where your organization is eating its own muscle to recoup every last dime of capital. Why are you even reading this, type of change in your organization or even listening to this section of our program? So now let's think about how to tell if customer experience is the right path for you. A CX focus may be strategic for your organization and allow you to meet any of the following criteria. You really want to grow your business by winning new customers, right? You want to grow your business by keeping customers longer. Your business is centered around serving memberships. They're part of a community. You're under pressure to do more with less. Getting things right is critical for your success. And finally, you're looking for a differentiator and more of a competitive advantage. So your business could meet any one of these points or all six, but let's look at some examples so we can figure this out a little more together. So the first one was you want to grow your business by winning new customers. Is there such a thing as a business that does not desire more customers? I don't think so. But some businesses in some industries need new customers, new logos, new blood more than others. So if your organization is still climbing the left side of the proverbial growth curve, you'll be more focused on new customers than you will when you're sliding down on the right side towards liquidation. So that's where the priority really is. It's on the left side as you're climbing that growth curve. You want to grow your business by keeping customers longer. Well, let's think about this one for a little bit, because I've asked numerous software as a service companies, SaaS, cloud type companies. So I've talked to a lot of technology companies recently and asked them, how's your churn rate? And churn means customers that are leaving them for another product, a competitive product, a different vendor. And they'll reply, it's around 25%, it's around 35%. But then I ask them, how's your growth? And funny thing is they often say, well, luckily we're outpacing our churn with our growth. I don't know if that's the optimal business strategy to just try to outpace your churn. The fact that your churn might be pretty high means fundamentally there is something wrong, and you've got to take a real hard look at that. So, but how about keeping those customers? I mean, imagine the growth rate if you kept those customers and they weren't churning out of your business. So retention is really where improved customer experience pays for itself in a very big way, because delighted customers refer their friends, refer their colleagues. But more importantly, they don't need to speak ill of you. Churning customers are almost the death spiral of an organization. So the preventative medicine of great CX. Our digital age challenges business in a way we have not yet addressed. Social media make it awfully easy for a discontented customer to complain out in public in many venues on many channels. In the pre-digital days, marketers had a rule of thumb that a happy customer tells 3 people, whereas an unhappy customer tells 11. So what do you think those numbers would be today? I don't know about the happy customers, but I do know unhappy customers can be a nightmare. Let's take, for example, what happened in 2008 when United Airlines broke a guitarist's $3,500 instrument. In 2009, Dave Carroll posted a song on YouTube, United Breaks Guitars. As of the writing of this and this episode, the first of the 3 videos had 19.1 million views. That's 19 million. So much for dissatisfied customer telling 11 people. So let's move on. Your business is centered around serving memberships. This is an interesting one because some businesses are really built around solid customer service. These types of organizations are naturals for a heightened focus in customer experience. So, for example, travel services, credit unions, they don't refer to customers, they refer to members. And there's a differentiation there that sometimes, like in credit unions, their members actually own a piece of the credit union. Often roadside travel services like AAA's, National Motor Club, things like that, they also meet the criterion of offering a critical service. A broken down vehicle on the side of the road, that's not a place to get a runaround when you pick up the telephone and call for service or help. Credit unions are naturals for customer experience because customers are owners and members, as we said earlier, but they often become members because of a heightened customer experience they expect from a member-owned type of business. So add to that the criticality of people's money, and you have a perfect storm for customer experience focus. But let's move on to if you're under pressure to do more with less, as many of our listeners are today. So as the bell-shaped curve that we talked about earlier suggested, lots of businesses increase profits by getting better at controlling spending. Surprising as it may seem, improving your customers' experiences can control costs. It's an important point. Let's look at an example. A solid customer experience infrastructure, by which I mean guidance systems that often give you the information you need at the time you need it, really helps people cut redundancy and operate much more efficiently. So things like Panviva's knowledge ecosystem have had companies lose 20% of their customer service reps, and maybe they move to other departments, but they could still maintain a high satisfaction level with those customers. Other customers find that they could reassign those types of reps to other parts of the business or even promote them to provide better service around the company because they're resolving the issues more quickly and they're not escalating things. Sometimes doing more with less comes not from reductions in size, but from growth itself. For example, sometimes our customers are implementing a big ERP system or something that'll reduce productivity, maybe a CRM system. That productivity loss happens every time a change management event comes into play, whenever a new system goes in, whenever a major change happens. So they really need customer experience technology to mitigate the erosion in productivity that happens in the ensuing months of a go live. When getting things right is absolutely critical to your organization, that's really solved by an excellent customer experience. You know, the customer experience is harder when the service you're providing is very complicated. For example, hospital scheduling. Let's take a very, very complicated scenario. In hospital scheduling, that's surprisingly complicated. Hospital providers, they don't always keep regular schedule. Doctors may be on call, may be doing rounds. So imagine trying to schedule various things. It's subject to change. It's subject to so many different things. And also there's prerequisites. There's what to eat, what not to eat, how to fast, what doctor you need to see first, what labs you need to do. Are there other things that have to happen before, during, or after? How do you plan for these things? So hospital scheduling is really one of those areas that can be very complicated. But other businesses like financial services come to mind because they're maintaining customer data in multiple places. So they end up with this silo effect, where excellent customer experience really requires being able to know where the required data resides and how to access it, what to do with it. Because there's really so much opportunity for confusion in these areas, it pays to go to the extra mile to get things right the first time rather than having to fix them down the road. And the more critical your service is to your customers, the more important customer experience is. And we talked about that earlier when we talked about the stranded motorist on the side of the road. Complicated internal processes and stressed out callers can really burn out customer experience or customer representatives. So if you're falling behind in training new people, a real robust customer experience infrastructure pays for itself by reducing agent churn employee churn, things like that. The key to better CX really may lie in knowledge and information access, and an improved CX infrastructure can fix that. Now let's move on and cover off the others. So where are you going to compete? How are you going to create a differentiator? How are you going to compete in the future? Well, customer experience is one of the last frontiers to be able to compete on. The CX problem often boils down to access of information that an employee or a customer rep or the customer themselves need and can obtain in a split second. When that happens, the cascade of benefits will really happen. So instead of training reps or employees to memorize a ton of stuff, you train them in how to access the information at their fingertips. What that results in is less churn, less attrition of employees, keeping them happier, longer periods of time, having the investment in those employees be realized better. Your hiring and training become easier, and you don't have to churn. You don't have the churn of customers. So solving the problems of accessing information and following complicated processes, you're halfway to great CX metrics. So let me ask you, what is your organization doing to improve the customer's experience? I wish you'd comment here or email me at s.pappas@outlook.com. That's s.pappas@outlook.com. And I want to thank you for listening to these and every episode of The Science of CX. You've been listening to The Science of CX. My name is Steve Pappas. I really hope you've enjoyed this episode. And if you have, the highest compliment that you can give us is to subscribe, rate, and review The Science of CX. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next episode.